So, good afternoon, everyone. The information session about call for proposal named Digit will begin shortly. Please wait a few minutes to give all those who have registered for the event a chance to connect. I remember you that the event is recorded and the video recording will be made available to you soon. Thanks.
Welcome to everybody. I hope you can hear me well. I'm Mauro Drauli from the Agency for Digital Italy, and we are a partner, institutional partner of the agency, the Italian Agency for Cooperation and Development, AICS. That is the contracting authority for the open call that is the topic of this information session. So the purpose of this session is to give information about an open call, to select a consortium that will develop and maintain a tech hub in Maputo. Really, my task here is just to say welcome and thank you to everybody for your participation. And the second purpose is to give short information, initial information. As Agency for Digital Italy, our goal is to help promote the success of this initiative. One main point, one initiative that we will provide in the next months, not now, is to bring some innovative companies into the tech hub as soon as it will start its operation in Maputo. So now there is this call. Someone will be selected to start with the tech hub, and one purpose for us is to feed this tech hub since the first days, so that we can help the government in Mozambique to benefit from the work of the tech hub. But please pay attention. The initiative of Agency for Digital Italy, funded by the Agency for Cooperation and Development, is not the initiative that we start now. We speak now. It's a sort of accompanying action. So everything is written in the open call documentation, has to be provided by you or by the consortium that will be selected. What we will do is an accompanying action that is separate from the open call that is now open. So these are just few words. We are giving a contribution as Agency for Digital Italy, so that all the documentation about this call and some initial documentation that has been published since November, everything is available in a public way, so that we can support the better at the best way the participation to this open call. I now leave the stage because the Agency for Cooperation Development is the contracting authority for this procedure, and so it's time to give the stage to Antonio Archetti, the colleague that will give you information about this open call, of course, but Antonio will repeat that the official information is written. So today is a very good occasion in order to exchange information and for you to ask for details and what you need in order to prepare your eventual participation to the call. Thank you very much. Antonio, please try to connect and let's test if everything is okay.
Okay. Thank you, Mauro, for your initial presentation. I hope that you can hear me well. Okay. So, good afternoon to everybody. My name is Antonio Archetti, and I'm in charge in the Italian Agency for Cooperation Development in Maputo as technical assistance to the program, to the DIGIT program. This session will provide some additional info on the DIGIT tender that IX published on its website on January the 2nd of this year. So I assume that most of you have already downloaded the documentation available on the website and had a first look at it. I took some notes on topics that I think it would be worthwhile to present during this info session. After reading these notes, we can have a more interactive discussion with questions that we will try to answer here. Anyway, we will answer to all of them in a frequently asked question document that will be published on the IX website. So take your time to visit the fact document at a later moment, because answers written in it are the official answers available to all applicants. Even these notes that I will present here will be part of the frequently asked question document as an introductory paragraph. Let me start by briefly recalling the global and specific objectives of the program and the expected results. The global objective of this call for proposals is to contribute to the sustainable development of Mozambique through the support to the digital transition of the country. The specific objective of the action financing through the grant of this call for proposals consists in supporting the strategic plan for the information society of the government of Mozambique through an action aimed at the creation of innovative tools of digital excellency for the improvement of public utility services, the promotion of entrepreneurship, and the increase in digital skills. The priorities, expected results, and related outputs, which this call for proposal will contribute to, are the following. For the expected results, number one, increased offer and access to digital services and technologies for productive and social use. For this expected result, the main output is the establishment of a tech hub of digital excellency using an already existing public facility in the area of Big Maputo, as it is called, managed by a public-private partnership. The second expected result is increased digital competencies of young Mozambicans to stimulate innovation, productivity, and growth. Expected result number three is reinforced incubation and acceleration of sustainable and inclusive digital startups. And final expected result is improved public and private digital services with special attention to people with disabilities. Of course, you find this definition with more details in the guidelines for applicants. Now, going back to the specific nodes that I want to present here, let's start with consortia and consortia members. The applicants must create a consortium and produce a signed agreement among members that states their roles and responsibilities in the action. It means the lead applicant, co-applicants, and affiliates. You find this in paragraph 2.2.1 of the guidelines. Each consortium must include one or more Mozambican public institutions as co-applicants that will make available an existing physical infrastructure where the tech hub will be created, being, at the end of the project, the final destination of all other infrastructures created by the project. And to facilitate the creation of consortia, a mapping of local digital ecosystem has been produced by a local consultant. This document is available in English and Portuguese on AIC's website. Now, going to eligibility criteria. It means the actors that are lead applicants, co-applicants, and their affiliates. Well, the lead applicant must be non-profit making, be established in the EU, and be authorized or provide evidence to effectively operate in Mozambique. For example, through an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, with a public member of the consortium that allows it to fund activities and contract people that will manage the tech hub and carry out activities. Can be NGOs, public entities, technology research center of public interest, educational technology entities of public interest, and so on. Now, the lead applicant shall demonstrate adequate capacity for planning, monitoring, expertise in similar projects worldwide. But this set of experience and competencies may be complemented by co-applicants. At the time of signing a contract with the contracting authority, the lead applicant must provide a financial guarantee for the first payment of the grant. The lead applicant is responsible to present an annual financial report to the contracting authority in order to claim the other payments of the grants, being the final report produced by an auditor. You can see it in Annex 7 of the documentation. Now the co-applicants are other members of the consortium that participate in designing and implementing the action. Can be private organizations, NGOs, public organizations, and so on. There can even be affiliates that are entities having a legal structural link with the lead applicant or with the co-applicants. Apart from these actors, there can be associates and contractors. Associates are organizations or individuals that may be involved in the action, but they cannot receive funds from the grant, except for per diem and travel costs. The lead applicant, co-applicants, affiliates, and associates must be mentioned in Part B of the grant application form. There is a form to be filled for each of them. Contractors, instead, are awarded contracts by the lead applicant or by the co-applicants and affiliates. But contractors are subject to the procurement rules, of course. Then there are also possible third parties. These third parties may receive sub-grants from the co-applicant or from the lead applicant to develop activities that could help achieving the objectives of the project. Examples of third parties are, for instance, startups selected through hackathons and incubated in the Tech Hub to create a digital service for social use, for example, or a local association of people with disabilities that helps improving its members to helps involving its members to participate in training courses or other activities in the Tech Hub. These are called third parties. Now, one of the most important thing is the creation of a private-public partnerships. The project would like to promote public-private partnership among public institutions, the Mozambican private sector, and civil society organization or international organization with specific expertise in ICT, startup creation, and networking. In 2019, the Global Partnership for Effective Development Cooperation launched the Kampala Principles. These 5 Kampala Principles were designed by and for the business community, for governments in developing countries and their development partners, civil societies, and other stakeholders. The principles are meant to enhance the effectiveness of development partnership with the private sector at the country level. So what benefits the private sector should expect to get being involved in the DIGIT project? The private sector can be involved with being either a member of a consortium or to develop specific activities during the project's life. In the first case, it will be part of a steering committee that strategically steers the Tech Hub policy regarding skill transfer and startup incubation, meaning that they can address skill transfers activities on a specific area of their interest, as for example, fintech development to create digital financial services for their customers. Or, as another example, mobile development for telecommunication providers, use of cybersecurity tools to monitor and protect data and digital critical infrastructure, among other examples. In this case, the private sector companies, members of consortia, are indicated as co-applicants in the guidelines for applicants. For the second case, the local private sector can be involved to run skill transfer activities and startup incubation on specific topics because of their expertise in any field, as, for instance, app development to remotely control solar power installation, for example, or use of digital apps and digital equipment in a car workshop, or Internet of Things development for sensors to be applied in agriculture, health systems, and so on. In this case, the private sector companies involved are indicated, of course, as contractors in the guidelines and are subject to the procurement rules set out in Annex 5.4 that you find in the documentation. So the benefits for the private sector is twofold, because they will be paid by the project to run these skill transfer activities, and because they create local competencies that could be used for their own business activities, either recruiting trainees or using services from startup incubated in the tech hub. The direct project beneficiaries are, of course, the young people that acquire these specific competencies that give them job opportunities, either being absorbed by the private sector or creating their own startup. Applicants has not to present detailed training offering and incubation program on any specific topic at the time of submission of their proposals. They have only to specify the number of courses and the amount of fund allocated specifically for these budget lines. A more detailed digital ecosystem and market assessment may be conducted by the winning applicant in order to address specific job opportunities that the digital economy is providing. Now let's talk about the Tech Hub. The guidelines for applicants give examples of a set of activities to be proposed. First thing first is the creation of a physical tech hub using an already existing infrastructure owned by one of the public members of a consortium. The physical infrastructure can be rehabilitated, expanded, and adapted to host all the activities that a typical digital tech hub develops for the local digital ecosystems, like skill transfer, startup incubation, creation of a community of technologies and innovators, and networking. The Tech Hub will be equipped with all digital infrastructures needed to run the activities mentioned above. It has computers, LAN cabling, internet connections, office furniture, communication equipment, and other. An example of Tech Hub model has been described in an annexed document for the applicants to use it as a reference. Applicants can propose, of course, a different model based on the experience of the consortium members, although there are minimum infrastructure requisites that such a tech hub should have in order to achieve the project's expected results. The expected results and types of activities that are supposed to be implemented in the TECAB are described in the guidelines in paragraph 1.2. Proposals should balance the distribution of funds among these activities, considering the expected results and the number of beneficiaries, direct and indirect, that the project aims to achieve. Anyway, these figures can be slightly adjusted as effect of a more realistic assessment of activities costs and according to the proposed distribution of funds among the budget lines. For last information, but it is written in the guidelines, the proposals can be written in English or in Portuguese. Now, other information given in the tenders documentation seems to me to be sufficiently self-explanatory. But that said, if there are questions on any topics, we can try to answer to them now, or we will put them in a frequently asked questions file to be published on ICE's website. I finished my presentation, so I give back the stage to the organizer. Enrico, do you listen to me? Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
There is a question in the chat. I don't know if you see that. Microphone. You are mute. I don't hear you.
Okay, okay. Now I'll try to open the chat here. Yes, let me see. Yes, now I'm joined by my colleague Stefan that jointly can check the chat and try to answer the chat. Okay, let me start from the beginning. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Lorenzo Manella. Can you please clarify the point on application form, grant application form on page 7, page 5, page 7, concerning that the grantee shall allocate 100% of the funding plans to the geographic area of Greater Maputo. To my understanding, the coordinator managing the grant cannot bear management costs, but only travel costs to Maputo. Is that right? Concerning that the grantee shall allocate 100% of the funding budget to the geographic area. Okay, the TECAB, as I already said, must be established in the area of Greater Maputo. That means starting from, for who knows the area, starting from the Marraquene district to Matola district and Maputo, of course. So the public entity should have infrastructure in this area, and all of the fund will be spent in this area. It's not possible to have parts of the grants allocated, for instance, in a center in province of Gaza or province of Inhambane in another place. Everything must be done in a TECAB that is established in the Great Maputo area. The coordinator managing the grant cannot bear management costs, but only travel costs to Maputo. Is that right? No. When I was talking about per diem and travel costs, that was referred to associates. I think it was an associate that can be an organization or individual that cannot receive grants, cannot receive funds from the grants, but only per diem and travel costs. But this refers to associates, exactly. At point 2, in point 2.1.3 of the guidelines, there is something about the association. Associate other organizations or individuals that may be involved in the action. Such associates plays a real role in the action, but may not receive funding from the grant, with the exception of per diem or travel costs. So this refers to associates. The person cannot apply for this grant, requires a partnership with government agency. I would like to scroll the second one. Can you please clarify the point on application? Your question will be answered later during the question. Thanks. I don't see it. Okay, can you please clarify the point of application form concerning the granting? What we already explained it. Can you on the diary page you can find further information. What this is squadra? Okay, that is another answer. My understanding, the private sector cannot apply for this grant, requires a partnership with government agency. As I said, the private sector can participate as a co-applicant because the lead applicant must be non-profit making. So private sector can be part of the consortium as a co-applicant. Another question is at page 18. It is stated that the consortium must produce a signed agreement among all members, of course. Is this agreement to be presented with the proposal or after the selection of the proposal? It must be presented with the proposal. We should already know at the time of evaluation of assessing the proposal that there is an effective agreement between all the parts, especially with the public member of the consortium. Should there be just one agreement between all members, or can there be different agreements between the lead applicant and each? I think it suffices only one agreement among all members of the consortium. There are no need to produce more than one agreement, provided that in the same agreements every member is stated as and with its role as a member of the consortium. This is clear. Thank you. I was referring to the fact that the public entity managing funds will not be based in. Okay. Yeah. I was referring to the fact that the public entity managing funds will not be based in Maputo. The public entity should have, at least in Maputo, the facilities to be used. Usually they have their site. Yeah, okay. My colleagues suggest that they can have their headquarters in other places of the country, of course, but they must be public. And but they should have, or they must have, facilities in the Maputo area to for the establishment of the tech hub. Are there any other questions? Oh, of course, you can submit questions to later to the Maputo to the AIX address at Maputo, Maputo at AIX.gov.it as it's specified in the guidelines. That question will be answered too and put in a frequently asked question file published on the AIX website. I do not see any other question in the chat.
There's one question.
Let me see, where is it? Okay, the public institution member of the consortium must be a government institution, or can it be a general public entity? No, it must be a public institution. A public university is a public institution. A private university is not a public institution. It must not be necessarily a central institution, central government institution. Even because this central government institution, they are not operating. They are not, for instance, I can mention here other public institutions, especially linked to the digital transition to the ICT, as is the case of INAGE, INTIC, for those who know this institution, as the ENCM, and even others. As I said, you can have a look at the mapping of the local digital ecosystem that was produced by a local consultant. So, and it is published in the site. So you can consult it to have a clear idea of other possible members, public and private members that can be part of the consortium.
There's no more question on the chat. I don't know if someone wants to speak live, but no one book intervention. There's one question.
One question for you. Uganese, facciamo squadra service. Please, Enrico, you can answer to this.
Yes,
question.
you can register to the Facciamo Squadra service entities that wants to set up a consortium. The answer is yes. All kind of entities. So we have a book to speak live.
I see another question. Are there any specific spending constraints related to areas and activities in the budget? On page 7 of the guidelines, on the paragraph 1.3, financial allocation provided by the contracting authority, it says that in Annex B, budget for the action, it groups costs in main budget lines as follows. So there are budget lines that can be used to allocate funds to, like human resources, travel, the cab setup, equipment and supplies, courses, project office, other costs, services, indirect costs. So there is not a special constraint, provided you put them in these budget lines and provided you achieve the expected results aimed by the project.
Okay, Dilip wants to speak. You can open the webcam if you want, and you can speak now. for your question.
Okay. Thanks very much for your briefing. I've got a question. How long?
The
How long
volume.
how long is going to take your selection process? Is it 1 month, 2 months, 3 months?
The selection you have. Let me see exactly the deadline for submission is 30 of April, and it is written in the guidelines. We could take.
How long does it take to be selected?
Okay, we could take from 1 to 2 months. Well, it depends on the number of proposals, of course, and each selection, each tender has its own, let's say, specialty peculiarities. So sometimes it is very straightforward. Other times there could be other problems to solve. So I think we could take from 1 to 2 months at maximum. Months, of course.
And how long the project takes? Overall?
The project is designed for 36 months at maximum.
And in terms of grants, how many phases?
I'm sorry, wait a moment. I'm sorry, I almost don't hear you. Perhaps can you use your mic to speak louder?
I'm saying, how many phases actually is the granting process?
So for the presentation of the proposal, being an open, you have to submit the concept note and full proposal, and they will be assessed, and there will be at maximum 5 proposals that will be assessed for the full proposals. Then after awarding the grants, the consortium has got 36 months to develop the action. I don't know if this is the question.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay.
Well, so we have another 2 books. Daniele Fabrizio, the next. We opened your microphone and webcam now.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm sorry for my webcam. Sometimes I have some troubles about, but my question is about the contents of training courses we can prepare in our proposal. I'm sorry for the camera. It is possible to include digital courses, but dedicated to the exploitation of the possibility of digital solution for environmental problems, energy problems, waste management problems, and so on. Typical problems of cities in Maputo, but not only, everywhere in the world. To customize digital contents to be developed or as applications. It could be interesting, or we need to strictly dedicate our courses to digital content, so ICT technicalities or softwares and so on.
Yes, well, I think I already answered to these possible questions when I made some examples before, talking about real application life. We are not interested only in having technicians, we are more interested in job creations. So everything that can be done using digital tools to solve social problems are very welcome in the project. So, but as I said, that could be assessed even during the project. If you don't want now to propose specific course contents, you can have an ecosystem, let's say, assessment of the social necessity that you'll find typically in Maputo. Transport, for instance, and any other.
Of course, yes, transports too.
And then any other social use of digital tools are, of course, welcome. But it's up to you. If you already have ideas, you can propose a kind of typical courses on IoT or on.
Okay, so we can suggest something, but we can also definitely define during the
later,
first phase
yes,
of the
at another
project,
stage. Exactly.
after an assessment. Okay, thank you very much.
Exactly.
So we have Miriam Mazzoni who wants to speak. We enable microphone and webcam. Now you can speak, Miriam.
In the meantime, there is another question on the chat saying that, sorry if I return on this point, but just to have a clear understanding of the memorandum of understanding among members of the consortium. Is it allowed to produce one MOU for each partner, or is it absolutely not permitted? Well, there could be more than one MOU, of course, because I can imagine, for instance, an entity, an international entity that already has an MOU with a university or with a local public institution. But what is mandatory is an MOU that states the role and responsibilities of all the members of the consortium. So that is the MOU that must be defined. But you can, of course, annex any other MOU between two institutions that you already have. But the most important is the MOU signed by all the members of the consortium for this specific action.
We have a second question from Dilip. Please, Dilip,
Dilip
open your microphone.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. We hear you.
So I got one question.
Almost.
So I think
I cannot hear.
I said I've got one question to be clarified. So 7 years ago, our company provided what they call a mobile phone repair training, and then subsidized by Denmark government. And out of that project, we create actually jobs. So this is will be contemplated on this project or not? This is a training that actually is going to create jobs.
Yes, definitely. Yes, it's something linked to the, let's say, technology, and that could be one of the courses that private sector could provide in collaboration with the tech hub, meaning that, for instance, if the private sector in that case is a contractor, they can provide the course, the contents, be paid for that, and at the same time they help the project to achieve its goals and the benefit and to get the beneficiaries.
You have to join with a public university or public technical college.
as I said, private sector can participate in two manners, either being member of a consortium that you have to prepare before presenting the proposal. In that case, okay, the private sector can suggest what type of competencies or courses can provide to the students, to the young people. So they will decide in the consortium. Otherwise, they can propose as contractors just a specific a particular course on this case mobile maintenance and other things that can be done in the tech hub, so having all the facility at your disposition and paying the teacher or paying the companies, and the company can even for instance help to have the participants and the tech hub on the the program can subsidize, for instance, the inscription enrollment of the students to the course, but this must be done within the tech hub. So cannot be an action outside of the tech hub, meaning that could be an action outside the program. I understand that some companies, private sector, could have their own, let's say, facilities, but that will be a separate action. So it could be done, but within the framework of the project, together with the private sector.
In terms of what they go from the grant, actually, then Denmark government allow us to buy a kit and provide to them at the end of the course. So that way that actually can generate the job. Otherwise, after the course, they don't have the money to buy the kit. So that was the part of that course was very successful. And we did that, I think 10 people actually out of that course, they got what they call the self-employment.
That can be proposed, but I recall that apart from the courses, there could be actions to create startups. And during the startup period, they can do some buy, for instance, kits with grants provided by the project. So that could be a follow-up of the courses, creating a group of people that works on that specific area or topics that you suggested.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Dilip. There is one more question in chat.
Yes.
From Carla Leone.
Can the public entity be part of more than one consortium, therefore sign the MOU with more than one? No, that is not possible. A public entity can only be part of one consortium. Same for the private sector partner, of course. Any applicant, lead applicant, co-applicant, etc., can be part only of one consortium.
There are not other
questions
to speak, question in the chat. So we can close the info session, or you have something more to say?
Well, as I said, all the documentation, including this live registration, will be made available on the IX website, including the frequently asked questions, other questions that can be sent even in the next days to be available to all applicants even those people that didn't participate in this info session. What a pity, I just joined and look like I don't understand this. Like, what is this? Will the record be shared? Oh, yes, of course.
Yes,
Will be
yes,
shared. You answered
I
me
answered
already.
in
Yeah,
chat.
yes. Okay, now you understand. I see.
So we can close the session. Thank you all to be here, and see you soon.
Okay, and we wait for your proposals. Okay.
Of course.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Goodbye.